Okay, three, two, one. Okay, this is John McEntee here with the Rock Fantasy Files, and I have a Canadian thrash attack from the 80s here, and it's something I'm super into, super badass. It's gonna be so much fun to just talk about these great times. Some of the best times for me in the thrash metal world, in my opinion. I've always loved the Montreal, Quebec area, the Toronto scene. I mean, so many great bands. I mean, just so many. We'll get into talking to all that in a moment, but yeah, just I guess we'll start off with saying who's here. We have Gus here from Sacrifice, the madman behind the drums. Hell yeah! And then we got Phil and Eddie from DBC, another legendary Montreal area band, one of the best. And of course, we have Denny from Aggression, which has been here numerous times and is always a good troublemaker. And then we have Robin, which always likes to kick ass on the show. So, and been doing a lot of these shows, so it's really awesome. So thank you guys for coming here. And what's it? Bonjour. Something like that, right? I know my French sucks.
Sure.
So, oui. No, but anyway, yeah, basically, I'll just start things off by saying that, like I said, the Canadian scene, it was something I really got into probably around, for me, it was like 86 when I first started hanging out with the guys who I'd be in Revenant with. I was Jim Plotkin and Henry Veggie, and turned me on to I remember hearing Sacrifice, Torment, and Fire, and I was just like, holy fuck. It was like kind of like Slayer-ish kind of, but just more evil and dark, and just the way I started off with the whole Evil Dead thing. I mean, for a what was I, 16-year-old kid, I mean, that was a dream come true. So that was perfect. And then of course DBC, I've seen DBC. I was just telling them up in Montreal at the Spectrum with Soothsayer and Groovy Aardvark, but also I've seen I think a tour with Death that I see you with, or for some reason I want to say
Death in New York City.
Yeah, was that CBGB's, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. And then Aggression was one of those bands that I just loved, that Full Treatment album. I mean, it was just, to me, it was just like the perfect, just fuck you kind of thrash. It was just rough and aggressive and brutal, and just just had a good fuck you kind of thing. And I just really, I really love that. And there's so many other great bands. I mean, Toronto with bands like Slaughter, I mean, Terry Sadler and that crew are just insane, just so many bands. Like I said, Soothsayer is another great one. What was it? Damnation, I remember, with Smurf Attack.
Okay.
I mean, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on up there. So it's totally awesome. So, I just basically want to get a vibe on, tell me about how this scene, tell me the early days of the fucking scene. I want to know about this shit. I love it. And, I'm down with it.
I think Sasquatch should start.
Okay.
I really do.
I'll start. I think I think all of us can say that, while we were going through that movement or that awesome time in our life, when we were in it, we were not realizing what was going on, for multiple reasons. There's a lot of things we were not realizing what was going on, but I remember it kind of became together very organically. All of us were listening to Anvil and Exciter, and those bands were kind of our forefathers of what we become. And at the same time, I know in Montreal, people were really into discovering other bands from overseas, or even we were really big into finding new music and searching for it, right? So all of us were really well versed into we knew about Venom right away, we knew about Slayer right away, and then through fanzines, I was able to get in touch with, I think it's Rob from Sacrifice. We started to become pen pal, and then starting to exchange the demo. I had the first Sacrifice demo, I think a rehearsal. I think it's called a rehearsal. So he sent it to me, then we start exchanging letters, and we went to Toronto. Like, we drove in my fucking little car, and we went to meet these guys, like Sacrifice and Slaughter, and we instantly like hit it off. Like, it was like the same as us, but like English version in Toronto, but you know, same as us. And DBC was different for us because in Montreal, there's like a French part and there's like an English part, right? So Phil and Eddie were part of like the English part, and we always felt like they have better access to connections and things like that just because of their language skills, and they're very charming individuals. But like, you know, like and DBC for us were almost like a little bit of a rivalry, or like we were trying to, like, I knew Jeff, their drummers, from way back since he was in Vomits and the Zits, which is a story I need to tell later on. But so, and then we, you know, like we had like rehearsal space with all these bands, and it kept growing. At first, like there used to be like 100 people at shows, then 200, then 3,000, then it just kept growing and growing. But it was a magical time. And it's like talking about it, like now looking back, like I wish I could go back and realize like half the shit that happened, but like it was truly magical and the best times of our lives during that period of time.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it made a big impact on me. I mean, when I was getting into fanzines and tape trading and stuff, I just remember it was mostly Jim Plotkin from Regurgitation. He used to be in contact with like everybody around there, and he just would keep bringing these demos and being like, "Oh, check this, check." And I was like, "What the hell's going on up?" And you know, like I always knew about Canada, you know, but I was like, it's fucking metal as fuck over there, you know. So it's definitely something really, really cool. But yeah, well, tell us something about you know, the Toronto scene, I guess, Gus, about those early days and the stuff.
Fuck, I remember, yeah, even before I met those guys, like what, March of '85. You know, John, I'm not even fucking playing in a band yet. I'm just this no-name fucking drummer. Nobody even knows who I am. What do? I go see them fucking play. Yeah, I see them play in the end of March 25th of '85. I'm not even in the band yet. So here's this guy standing at the back of the room. Guess who he is? Right here. Watching them play, watching Craig play on stage, and I'm just gassed. I can't believe this local band is this good, right? And a month later, here I get a phone call. Hey man, we hear you can play like Lombardo. You want to come try out? Okay. So off I go. My uncle packs up my shit in his car. He drags me out to Scarborough. I drop my stuff off. Show up Friday, set it up. Play Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, basically at Scott's house, and then it all begins from there. Off I go, and literally within 2 months of being in the band, I'm in a studio in downtown Toronto recording the Exorcism demo, and
Awesome.
And everything was at my, you know, here's 7 songs, and then we write the last 3 songs for Torment and Fire, and then it just keeps going from there. It's just a roller coaster. But for me, yeah, like it's like Denny says, Anvil, Exciter, Slayer, Metallica were huge. Venom were huge, you know, influences on me in '84, '85. Rush were, you know, they've always been like a big thing for me since, I guess, what, '81, when, you know, it became more of a thing. Like I miss probably their best years, the years that I fell in love with, which are 78, 79, 80, 81. And I didn't discover them until, you know, 81, and didn't see them until 86, 87. But yeah, I was lucky. Like I got that chance. I got that chance to show up and show what I could do on a set of drums. I thought they were gonna throw me the fuck out after 2 songs, because that's all they let me play. And yeah, Watts takes me outside. I'm having a smoke. I said, I'm fucking done. He goes, no, man, they loved you. They loved you. No, don't worry, they loved you. And then yeah, I walked back in the room and there it was. They said yeah, they wanted me to play drums for them, and we had quite the 5-year run, I must say. I mean, with all the shows we played at Larry's Hideaway that summer, played with some of the biggest bands, and I remember we got to play with Exodus July that summer.
Oh wow!
But they when we opened up for them, they played Bonded by Blood, so we seen Bailoff, and they the impression they left on me, and even bands like Snow White that summer, and all playing all those shows with Razor, and how intense and how crushing they were every time they played, and people showed up from everywhere to watch them play, and their history is what it is.
Hell yeah!
I'm just happy that I got a chance.
Yeah,
I feel very fortunate to have been. Yeah, it's like Denise said, on that wave, we had no fucking idea what was going on. If we could relive it, it'd be a different feeling, and
exactly, yeah,
we would react differently. Like we had no idea that we were on this wave that was gonna be. I mean, I left in 1990, and I turned everything off, but the wave never stopped, and it's still. I think it's bigger than it's ever been after all these years.
I'm amazed people still appreciate what it is we did. I'm amazed.
Yeah, I was amazed when Rob met with me in 2003 and said, "Hey man, we're still selling records, lots of them. Here's some cash, man. What do you think?" And I was like, "Fuck, all right, we're gonna still put it out." He goes, "Yeah, sure." I said, "Okay, whatever works, right?" And still, and my wife still gets amazed that no matter how we press it, they'll buy it. She goes, "Press it and they'll buy it."
But it's timeless stuff. It's like there's a certain feeling to those albums, and especially the 80s, that it just don't really get reproduced these days with bands. It's just a different way of doing things, you know. It's everything was analog. You had to really play the stuff. There was a lot of practicing with the band stuff. I think that has a lot to do with it. Makes it like last the test of time, you know.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I tell people that when I recorded Soldiers, which I mean, ironically, it's funny because the anniversary is today.
Yeah.
And this is no bullshit. I went in, recorded that album in 14 fucking hours. 14 hours. Sat up, and I finished at 4:00 in the morning. And I remember Brian wouldn't give me any hashish. None. I was very upset. I remember when I rejoined Sacrifice in 2004. I said to Rob, I said, "There will never be a fucking moment where I will not smoke weed in this band, whether I'm recording or playing live." I said, "You'll never catch me drunk, but I will always be high." They put their fucking hands up and said, "No problem."
I don't think drummers can drink. You have to be.
No, man, I can't fucking do that. Hey, Phil, I can't do that shit on booze, man. I tried it once. You know what? I had a beer at one of my fucking shows, and you know those really hot summer shows you play where it's 10,000 fucking degrees on stage. I remember I got halfway through a beer. I thought I was gonna throw up halfway through a song. I said, "I'm never fucking doing that again." So it's just reefer here, reefer there. Keep it simple, and try not to let the nerves get to you.
Well, it works. Trust me. It's killer stuff. I mean, I know now, even when I listen to those 80s Sacrifice albums, it just brings back great memories. And actually, I remember listening to those demos you did for the Soldiers of Misfortune album, because that time I was actually dating Kelly Walsh, and she played those for me, and that was just great stuff. Totally awesome. And you could just tell by the time you went in to record that album, you were just on fire. You guys knew that stuff back and forth. Because I even remember seeing you guys play. What was it? I forget where the venue was. Watching you guys play, and you played some of those songs, and it just fit in perfectly with all the classics you played. It was amazing. But yeah. So let's hear about the DBC English versus French Wars of Montreal.
Well,
Bill, you want to
what's
start?
funny-
You want me to get
What's funny about Quebec is I think the biggest metal band that came out of it was Voivod, and they were Jonquière and entirely francophones. So you know, we have to say that maybe we all sing in English. Even Voivod, everybody sings in English. That's the way you're going to make it out there. But Voivod is the one that made it the biggest, and they were also they were. I saw Piggy doing chords that should have been illegal. I mean, they were absolutely.
Yeah, who knew
those
what he
guys
was doing?
Really were. They really fucking pushed the envelope. And whether I admit it or not, I've never really listened to Voivod, but I appreciate them. But I can't say they were an influence on us because I never really listened to them. But I respect them in absolutely every way because they are one thing, and that's original. Nobody is Voivod. And
That's true.
and I think that's because it's Quebec. And Quebec, as an Anglophone, I could speak French, but as an Anglophone, I didn't quite appreciate the culture as a kid. But when I left it for a while, I completely respect now what Quebec has. And I have no idea why so many good progressive metal bands come out of that province. But man, there's some really good stuff.
Absolutely.
Now I can
All right.
hand it over to Eddie. Do you have anything
Yeah,
to add, Ed?
I'll just give a little bit of a history lesson also, like a continuation of Sasquatch, I think, just for the record, so people know how this all started. Well,
Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah, from my point of view is, of course, Slayer came around and changed my life. Like when I heard that first album, we were like, wanted to start a band and we're like, that's what we want to do. So we had responses from the hardcore scene. So we started going to hardcore shows, got to know Genetic Control, Vomit and the Zits and all those guys. And then we're like, you know, there's a new thing happening. And we went to see Aggression. And we just loved what they were doing. We're like, we got to do what they're doing. So to me, Aggression was the first Montreal band. Voivod were from Jonquière, but they moved here. I met them. So I would go to their house because they want to learn English. So I would speak English to them and they kind of like were doing lessons kind of. So, then we said, that's what we want to do. Recorded demos, got signed. Luckily we played with Slayer and got the scout from Combat was in the audience, got the demo and signed us that week. So, and the rest is history with releasing those two albums, but they're quite different. First album's more political and thrash and crossover, while the second album is very technical. In my opinion, it's still ahead of its time, and I'm hoping in 20 years people will get it because it's so complicated and like technical to me. It was like a big difference in style from the first album. But to me, that's what happened in the way I see things is, you know, we saw what we wanted to do. We got the guys together.
Were you with me before we were in a band? We're hanging out with Slayer and Voivod at a bar out on I think Crescent Street or something.
That's
and
right.
That's when we I met Slayer and hanging around and everything. And then that was the night I had a smart mouth. And I think the story everybody is Jeff Hanneman punched me in the face.
No.
Oh, he did, yeah.
No, are you serious, Bill?
Yeah,
I saw the whole thing.
yeah. He was hitting up my girlfriend at the time, and so I was being smart mouth. So he actually hauled off and punched me, and I fell down into some sort of flower bed. And then Dave.
I was there. I saw it.
I saw
Were you
it
there,
too.
dude? Were you actually there?
But I'm much more liberal than you. I let Tom Mariah fuck my girlfriend.
Ah,
I can't hear the. I'm gonna do this.
high five.
Well, anyway, the funny
I'm gonna
part of
do
it is Dave Lombardo came over and he said, because I think Hanneman was a scrapper, so he was kind of pushing Hanneman away. I think there was a roadie who was saying, "Explain yourself, or you're going down," or something. And Eddie,
He said, "Make yourself clear. Make yourself clear, or you're going down."
Anyway, long story short,
I almost fell in a pool.
Long story short, I spent the night in jail. And that was later and unrelated to it. Anyway, about a year or two later, we were opening for Slayer. We saw them at L'Etoile on what was it, Saint Denis. And so I asked Hanneman if he remembered me, and he pretended to punch me like this. And then I knew he remembered me. And we opened for them that night, and it was quite a thrill.
Yeah, that's why he's called Jeff Knuckles Hanneman on our album. True story.
That's pretty damn cool to get beat up by Jeff Hanneman. That's a good story.
Dude, he was so drunk. He was so drunk.
Oh, Hanneman was wasted.
Stumbling. And I remember Dave Lombardo going, I hope they're not in the band. I hope they're not in the band.
It was a hotel on Crescent Street in Montreal, and
That's
I
right.
remember we were around a pool like behind the hotel. I don't remember much, but I remember that story because Phil almost fell in the pool.
You know, he fell in the plank bed and pretended to be knocked out. I remember that. He just laid there. We're like, is he okay? And then he got up.
And then the next day I get out of jail and I go home and I have a black eye. And I didn't quite appreciate the fact that it was Jeff Hanneman that had punched me. So I was upset, going, wow, I'm a fucking loser. Wow, I got punched. And then later on, the story became quite awesome. And then, who else can claim to be punched out by Jeff Hanneman?
Since I was there, I'm going to tell you what I remember, okay? The whole day, every time Jeff did something, Phil would make a joke saying, oh, I didn't know rock stars did that. I didn't know rock stars did that. So Jeff, we're standing in a circle and Jeff sneezes. And Phil says, oh, I didn't know rock stars sneeze. And that's when he punched him in the face. That's what I remember. That's what I remember.
I mean, it sounds like me.
Seriously, that's what I remember. I'll live by that. That's what I remember. Phil just made another comment that went a little too far. He had enough of this guy bugging him all day about Rockstar. That pow!
Yep. And after that, I became a little more humble.
It kind of looked like this. See the t-shirt? And then it's kind of like, replay.
Wow, that really brings it home, Ed.
But here's an invitation of Phil getting punched. Out. Good times.
You were there, Denis. I can't believe you were there. That's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know he was there.
That's awesome. Wow.
Thanks to Michel Mies. I have to say Michel Mies' name. He owned Rock and Stock, who had the best records and all the metal records. And that's how it all started in Montreal, because of his store.
That's right.
Michel Mies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the record peddler downtown for us.
Yeah.
Same thing in Toronto.
Yeah.
Well, there is a store in Scarborough that the boys used to attend too. I don't know about it, but for me, it was the record peddler downtown. That's where I used to get my stuff.
Yeah, I remember hearing.
Surprised we don't have Gord from Pile Driver here. I mean, he was also.
Yeah, I tried to invite him, but he said maybe in a couple of months he'd like to do this again, but he was not able to do it with us. I talked to him. Yeah.
Oh, what, is he really busy? Come on.
He's piling.
It's COVID.
Well, right.
I've been
Some
fucking
people are
locked up
busy.
for 4 months. What are you talking about? Stuck in my basement.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I remember from back around that time too, there was some cool like festivals that would go there every now and then. I know you had like No Speed Limit Weekend, World War III. I think other ones like that too. And I think you had stuff like that in Toronto too. I can't remember. I used to have flyers on my wall with it, but I know Sacrifice did play Montreal on, is it No Speed Limit? No, it was
No Speed Limit.
Yeah.
No Speed Limit.
Yep.
Any cool stories about that? I mean, those were really big deals at the time, at least for like the underground.
That was probably the biggest show I played, going like probably in the first year of being in the band. I remember going to that show and there was a curtain drop, and I remember sitting there. I was sitting on my drums, and then the curtains opened, and the fucking place was like packed to the back wall. I was like, "Fuck!" I just froze. All of a sudden, Joe was playing, and then it's like all of a sudden I snapped out of it. And I remember I was playing a show, but that was probably the first time. You get that fucking, you just get vapor locked, right? You can't believe how fucking big it is. you're in the middle of something and I didn't realize it. And all of a sudden, fuck, you snap out of it, and then I began to play. But that was the only time I did that. I remember when it happened, I said, I don't ever want to have that happen again. I never did after that. But yeah, no speed limit was definitely a big launching pad for us as a band. I remember us getting a lot of big shows after that.
That was Spectrum.
Yeah,
Right?
that's the Spectrum.
Oh,
Remember
that was before you were
Gus.
signed?
Could I ask
Yeah.
Gus a question?
Well, no, we'd done Torment and Fire. That was out, but
Yeah. That's awesome.
that was probably before Determination. So we were writing all that stuff, and I remember us showing up. We were playing some of that by then, pretty
Yeah.
shortly.
Yeah, I think you guys played Pyrokinesis at No Speed Limit.
Yes, yeah,
I
that
think
was
it's the first time I ever heard it. Yeah.
we were just starting to write all that. We were just starting to write that record then. And then
Hey,
we-
Gus.
And all these bands played on Aggression's gear, like Nuclear Assault, played on Aggression's gear, Agnostic Front.
Yeah.
So like our drummer Gate, who's no longer with us, but like he used to have a huge kit, like it's freaking like stupid, like I don't know, like 20 toms, like it was just stupid, right? And so he landed his drums to like the guy from DRI, and the guy from DRI used to play like on like
Like
a
a
snare,
floor?
like 2 toms on the floor. So
Yeah.
he's doing like these freaking like super long, like Neil Peart kind of fucking roll, like right? So the guitar player from DRI keeps turning around like, hey, what are you doing, man? Stick to the song. But the guy was just enjoying the kit. It was awesome.
I have two things to say. Number one, Gus, does the simony mean anything to you?
Yes,
You're right.
yes, yeah, the 70.
That's where we played. with
That's
you.
where we played together. I was trying to remember
That's
that.
right. And the
That
second
was
thing
on
is just,
Spadina and off of Augusta,
I
like
don't
downtown.
remember.
Spadina and
Was it upstairs?
Bathurst, Spadina in college, somewhere around there.
Why do I remember stairs? Was it upstairs?
Yeah, it was upstairs.
It was.
Yeah.
The second story I just want to say is it just got revealed recently. I wrote it on Facebook. Is we went to see Aggression play, and we were just like, that's crazy. This is what we wanted to do, and we were a little bit jealous because we didn't have a band. So Jerry says to me, when the band starts, I'm jumping into the drum set. So the band started, the show starts, they're like seconds with it, and Jerry's like stage diving right into everything was destroyed. Denis, you must remember that.
And it was at Rising Sun on St. Catherine
That's
Street.
right.
So it was like a pong bar, right?
Yeah.
And there was usually it was about maybe 200 people like to go in that place.
It was
us
crazy.
plus a couple of pong bar. It was like 600-700 people in there. We
It
were
was
way
packed.
over capacity. There was people all the way down the street, and we started to play, and like we just 1, 2, 3, 4,
Mayhem.
and then people
Mayhem.
just
Yeah,
like
it was mayhem.
yeah. We had to restart the show
Jerry's
3
a
times.
hemophiliac, okay? Jerry's a
Three
hemophiliac. Bruises
Because their
easy.
gear was all over. Like my Marshall head fell forward. I had
It
to
was
grab
just
it with my
crazy.
guitar.
And you
My
guys had to
pedals were in the
stop
like
and
mosh
regroup.
pit. But
that's
that's one
crazy.
of the best show I ever played.
Don't you
It's
wish
so
we
much
had
fun.
video of this stuff?
Dude, I well
Don't you
yeah,
wish we
I
had
wish-
video? I wish we had
Yeah.
video.
I think if they would have like a lot of cameras back then, I would still be in jail for like 35 years, but that's a different that's a different story.
Oh, I don't know that story. Let me guess, young girls?
You sure?
I'm guessing.
No.
Young boys.
I was able to get girls my age, don't worry.
You're
Me and
like an
Phil,
ex-
we used to trade. Phil and I used to trade.
Tag team.
What were we trading?
Little boys.
What?
Yeah, that show, The
Sounds
Rising
like
Sun, was
fun.
crazy.
Yeah, it was. That was our first show too.
And you know what? Like Aggression had the chance to recently play with Sacrifice in Vancouver and play with DBC in Montreal, and like, it's amazing when like we're older guys, we still practice our instrument when we can, and like we try to maintain that musicianship. But the stuff we used to do when we were 16, 17, 18 years old is not that
Man.
easy anymore. Like
it's
sometimes like
not.
I'm hurting, and I can
You
only
gotta
think
play
of Gus like
yourself.
on drums. Like you gotta keep like you got to keep like flexible and in shape, right? But
Yeah, well,
I saw Sacrifice in Vancouver. I think we played with them, and I've also Carcass, I think, was playing headlining the show. But it was just to see like Sacrifice playing those songs, like, you know, Pyrokinesis and like all their classics, and like even Rob's voice is like exactly the way it used to be. Like they sound like Joe has the same smile when he's like doing his solos, and like and when we played with DBC, it was the same thing. Like, of course, like Jerry and Jeff no longer with us, but you know, just to get that vibe, like that music from back then, perform at such a high quality. I think we're better now than we used to be back then. To be honest, we're probably like better musician, but to hear it with such quality is so good. So good.
I appreciate now what we used to write. To me, I was just a fucking kid, and we just showed off. We play 5s and 3s, and none of it mattered. We just wanted to show off. But now I appreciate it. But I can't play it, and we wrote songs that we cannot play at all. We never played live because we couldn't do it. And
Can't do that
still
reunion.
Flop over stuff. The music is so
we've
fucking
got
loud,
problems
but
with that too. Yeah.
yeah, I can't play a lot of it.
There's certain things like people go, well, why don't you guys play fucking Truth off of fucking like Soldiers and shit? That's like 10 minutes of fucking song. And I was like, yeah, well, it's gonna take us like a fucking year of practice just to get it right again. And then
I ain't no Neil Peart.
Now we have kids.
it's like them trying to ask me to play Pot of Prophecy. Like, man, that was fucking 22-year-old legs, eh? Going at 200 miles an hour.
Well,
I
it's
got
like we had
50-year-old legs.
this other kid from Halifax. We had this other kid from Halifax when DBC wasn't playing anymore, and this guy had a tattoo of DBC on his leg, and then he sent us him recording every single guitar, every single bass, and all the drums. And we said, okay, well, if we get back together, let's get this guy in. So this is a huge thrill for him to come in and play with us, and he was fucking amazing. He
Did he
made
have
us
to teach you guys the song?
His name was Quinn.
did. Ed and I would look at each other and go, is that how we play it?
For the record, his name's Quinn. I just want it on the record. Quinn. his name's
Quinn was
we
fucking
just gotta say
amazing.
it.
Yep. And Ed and I still get together having written the music and go, how did we fucking play it? We can't remember the goddamn notes.
It happens all the time.
Very
Robert,
true.
was there anything you wanted to bring up, or?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm listening to the stories and trying to, like, you know, surpass the Jeff Henneman one's kind of going to be difficult. But I mean, I just have to say, I mean, you know, I have a different experience with all the bands because I didn't live near Canada or go to Canada. So, you know, I was in Florida in between New Jersey and Florida. So I had like all the Florida death metal bands, which, I mean, that was great also. But like, I mean, I was lucky enough to see bands like Voivod and everything. And I got to see Sacrifice, which was awesome on the Bolt Thrower tour with Believer. And actually, and I'm sure Noah's going to remember this, but I remember it because I got a dedication to Turn in Your Grave to me that night. So it was at Summers on the Beach, and it was amazing. So like, I was just stoked on that. I don't even know why. Probably because like a Durkata Mythic, like, you know, crossover thing. Because they were like, Terry was like really close with, you know, I think Rob.
Yeah,
like, she used to
didn't
write him.
Sharon from Dakota
Sharon
knew
too.
Sacrifice. I know she went up.
Like, I know there was like a lot of writing back and forth back in the day.
Yeah.
Between them. And then, you know, I mean, Aggression, I got to play with Aggression with Gruesome at Obscene Extreme. So that was awesome. So that's my introduction to that. And I have to say, and not to, you know, I mean, out of everybody here, I'm going to say I freaking love DBC so much. And I always have. And the person that got me into it, weirdly enough, was George from Cannibal Corpse. Like, he wore a DBC shirt almost every day. I swear, like, it's crazy.
Wow.
What's his name? George?
George Corpse Grinder.
Okay, I'm gonna
George
contact him right now.
Cannibal.
From Cannibal Corpse.
He's got a neck that's
Yeah, like the neck. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even like into like super technical, but for some reason, every single song is, I just love it. I mean, come on, Power and Corruption, Terrorist Mind, Genesis Explosion. I mean, come on. And I'm happy enough that I did get to see DBC play at the Treehouse with Laz Rocket.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
A
When was
million.
that?
Huh?
Was that in Florida?
That
When
was in
was that?
Florida at Hollandale Beach and at the Treehouse.
Oh, that's
Right
the
on,
one they
January.
wouldn't actually let me in because I didn't have ID, but eventually they let me in, you know, to play the show. But I thank you very much. There's a really high praise from you, so thank you very
That
much.
was like, I mean, and I think Devastation played also that night. And then you guys went
Yeah.
to Tampa or Tampa first. I can't really remember. But
That
yeah,
was the
I
whole
just have
tour,
to say,
Devastation.
That was
like,
the
and I mean,
last
I
show.
think
That was the
everybody,
last show of our tour.
yeah. And if you're a metalhead, and I'm gonna say, if I would think everybody has Torment and Fire on their shelf. Like it's a staple of, you know, the music at that time. You have to own that. If you don't, like, you know, 100% weird. Like,
It's a great.
but yeah, DBC 100%. I'm always so excited. Like if I hear DBC or somebody that likes DBC or bonding DBC wise.
The most underrated band of all time. That's our slogan.
So
I'm
I'm just
always-
gonna say I
I'm
just
always
fanned
when
out,
people- when people
fangirled
say
out a
that-
little bit, but I'm just saying that because yeah, so
Well,
good.
That first DBC album, especially, that one really
So good.
connected with me. It was just so interesting because it was like, it was technical, but at the same time, it was still thrashy or still.
Passionate.
It was just a really interesting mix. It was more like the timings were technical, but some of the riffs weren't super technical.
Yeah.
But it was just like the way they were organized. I always thought that was, I mean,
Yeah.
that was a really great album. And I was super.
You're exactly right there. Yeah, but what we were into there was this crossover between hardcore and metal, and
That's right.
you should have like simple metal riffs, but by the time we did Universe, it was all just a big jerk off show off where we would just write the stuff we couldn't even fucking play. But the first yeah, I really hate my singing on it. I wish I could go back and do it, but yeah,
I think
the
it's great.
stuff was really good. I still listen to it, and we cut down a lot of the songs when we were playing live, just down to the nitty gritty. Like Lies, I think the slow part of Lies is very good. So we just do that. But a lot of people hated Universe after that.
Well, Universe definitely was, when it came out, didn't hit me the same way. It didn't have the punch as the first one. I mean, going back to it, I like the album, but at the time, I wanted to hear a little more of that. I don't know, the
Muscle.
more tact, muscle to it
Yeah.
or whatever.
It was so different. It's almost like two different bands to me. The first album, the second album.
Yeah,
They're like completely different bands. Like the whole sound changed, the way the structures, you know.
really, it seemed like it
Yeah,
didn't have that
people-
much of the hardcore vibe.
Yeah,
to it.
yeah, exactly. People,
I love
they
both.
the Big Mac. They want the Big Mac, and we didn't give them the Big Mac. We gave them.
But you see,
something.
that's where the actual, and I couldn't say it at the time, but Rush, and I didn't realize it at the time, Rush was a huge influence on me, especially. And, you know, you just want to write really good, weird stuff. But at a certain point, like Phobos and Demos, we were just showing off, and we can't play that song. But it was just a
Yeah,
big
so
show off.
to me, what happened is we were practicing 5 days a week, and we realized that we could remember more and more notes and more changes because we were putting so much time into it that we're like, well, why do it 5 times? Let's do it 3 times. Then, you know, more complicated, like 18 changes per song, like 18 different riffs per song. It was just out of control. But the third
And I
album,
used
we're trying to go back.
Yeah.
We're trying to go back.
Yeah,
on
and
the
I used to
roots,
say
yeah.
this,
And-
is that you would write a riff and say you too would take that riff and squander it for an entire song. But we squandered riffs that were just bridges when it should have been entire fucking songs.
That's it.
We were so prolific that we could just squander a riff on
We
a
just
riff.
went too crazy. And a lot of hash too, right?
And it's funny when you know the guys, when you know the guys from DBC, like they all have like 4 different personalities. Like, and I'll tell like their drummer Jeff St. Louis. I'll tell my Jeff St. Louis story because it's amazing.
God bless us all.
Still
you
maybe
use-
good
you use-
story.
he used to play in a band called Vomits and the Zits.
Vomit
Okay.
and Zits.
Yeah, Vomit and the Zits, and they were like straight up like hardcore punk, you know, like sounded like Exploited,
Dead Kennedys.
you know, like Dead Kennedys, that type of
Yeah.
music. So, and they play in my town of Laval, a suburb of Montreal. So we go see them, and they play in like a college, right? So they were filming the show. So it was us, the guy from Voivod were with me, and you know, there was about maybe 300 people at the show. So Jeff walks in so he walks in with a used like mechanic like overall, right? And a bucket and drumstick. So he goes behind the drum kit, right? And as Vomit and the Zits keeps playing, he's taking like the upper part of his like overalls, and then suddenly he just takes everything all now. He's like butt naked, playing behind the kit. You see his balls going while he's doing the fucking bass drums and everything. And then while he's playing, he's throwing up in the bucket. And so I fell in love with that band. Like instead, like I'm like, I want to see that band more
Yeah,
often,
that's
right?
a fucking keeper for sure.
So listen
That
to
was the
this.
amazing
At some
thing about
point,
Jeff.
the guitar player loses his guitar pick. And Jeff stands up, like go find his overall, gets his wallet, he gets like his social insurance, like social security card, and the guy finished the show playing that. Like and people were go on stage and grab cigarettes from like the bass players, like cigarette pack. Like it was the most like hardcore.
Was Dave
punk show I've
Javik
ever
singing?
seen. Huh?
Was Dave Javik singing?
Yeah,
Javix
he
was singing, man. And
For
he
sure.
was like out of control. He was out of control.
He was
So-
actually the first singer for DBC, but
That's right. He started the band.
That's why I was surprised when I wow, when I heard the first DBC record, I knew Jerry quite a bit. Like me and Jerry always talk about Slayer. He loves Slayer. Like to me, like Jerry was like the Slayer guy, right?
Yep.
And we always talk about that, and like so I was expecting something punk from like Jeff, but I was expecting something metal from Jerry. So that's, I think, like the combination of like the four of them created that type of the music and the way, the complexity. And like Phil said, like all of us in Canada, we were all like we all raised on Rush. So for us to be good at our instrument was extremely important. Like some were better than others, but like we you know, like everybody in Canada was like, Rush, you got to know how to play, right? So that's why I got from DBC, I got like a bit of progressive, hardcore, and metal all like in one product. And like to me, I still listen to Dead Brain Cells, like the self-titled to this day. And I told these guys, like, we were jealous. We wish we had like half their talent. And you know, like to this day, like DBC for me was like the band we were trying to. These guys were coming to see us and saying, "Hey, I want to do what these guys were doing." Well, we're seeing those guys, and we're like, "This is what we want to do."
That's hilarious.
Wow, that's such an honor to hear this from you. Such an honor.
I do think especially the first DBC album, it's kind of its own thing. It's thrash and it's whatever. I don't even know what to call it. It's just its own thing, but it fits in that underground
Crossover, I'd say.
place great. I mean, I remember
Awesome.
when I seen you play with Death at CB's.
Yeah.
You guys kicked Death's butt for real. You know, it was
Really?
I remember leaving there like, wow, DBC really kicked ass. Yeah, it just sounded tight. It sounded really good. I mean, Death wasn't bad, but you guys seemed like you guys were just on fire that night. You know, I mean, I've only seen it a few times. This was I think it was at CBGB's.
Yeah, 89, I think. 89.
Yeah, maybe, something like that. I just remember I was totally blown away on how good the performance was. I mean, I don't remember the performance by heart now, but I remember leaving there being like, wow, dude, they really kicked, Death's butt at that show,
All I remember is the
which is a big
bathroom.
deal for me at that time because I was a huge Death fan,
Honor to hear you say that.
But to be fair, that was when first time I seen Voivod was on Killing Technology when they toured with Creator, and I was actually more of a Creator fan. I knew Voivod, I knew the albums, but once I seen Voivod live, I was just like I totally got it, you know, like I was just like I mean, because I remember watching Creator being like, this is the best thing I think I ever seen in my life. And then my friend Hux, I went to the show with, he was like, dude, wait until Voivod, they're gonna slaughter Creator. I'm like, oh, it's impossible. They slaughtered them. Yeah, it was
it's originality for me. What I appreciate is originality, and Voivod is original.
I mean,
That's for sure.
Yeah, and Voivod's Roar album was really raw. I mean, at that time I couldn't even understand what the heck was going on. But after watching them live play some of those songs off that album, then I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, I get it now. Like, but it's not a you know, it's definitely it wasn't for novices, especially back then, because I mean, it was raw as all hell, you know. But you know, and I actually liked War and Pain. Roar was a little much for me. Like I was like, I said I liked it, but I don't know how much I really liked it because I didn't really know what was happening until after I seen them, like I said. And then I was like, oh, I see. Because some of those songs are just amazing. And for me, it was just funny because some lyrics were really funny too. I mean, they were cool, but
I'm glad you say that because as Anglophones there in Quebec, we would look at their lyrics and there would be the yellow blades of danger.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
A song about a snowball.
Go shit, I'm not a fish. That's a great one.
Yeah. He wrote all the lyrics in French.
That's the best one. Thank you for saying that.
Then he wrote all the lyrics
That's a classic.
Is go shit, I'm not a fish. Is that a Quebecois expression?
It is. And he wrote all the lyrics in French, and his teacher translated it to English.
Look, man, I consider myself fairly Quebecois, but I've never heard go shit, I'm not a fish. Come on.
It is. Go chien, je suis pas un poisson, là.
That is a class. I love it. I mean, it's great, but it's when I first heard that, I was like, what did he just say?
The yellow blades.
But for me, it was all a pig. That guy was so original. That guy just fucking amazing. Like, never heard anybody play guitar like that. And then when they get this new guy in, well, he understood.
Yeah.
So could I just say something? Daniel Mongrain, the current guitarist for Voivod, played with DBC for one show.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Nice. He came down and played with us when we started to realize that, you know what, maybe we should start playing again. He was Jerry's replacement, the first guitarist to do it before Jason. Then Jason joined. So Dan did get to do a show with us.
Well,
2003, New Year's 2003.
I was just impressed that he was able to fill in Piggy's position because any guitar player to play that stuff is almost impossible.
Wait. Dan is an amazing guitarist.
He has to be. He has to be to do that.
He came to our local with all the notes written out, and Whammy Bar were lines and squiggles, and he said, yeah, this is where I go up, this is where I go down. I'm like, how the hell? He had illustrations for the Whammy Bar.
Isn't he a music teacher?
Pardon?
Yeah, he is a music teacher in Joliette.
Yep.
Yeah. He knew our stuff inside out.
I mean, honestly, I thought once Piggy unfortunately passed away, I thought Voivod, there was just no hope that it would ever happen. I just didn't think anybody could replace him and have it be legit. And they did it.
Does it.
I mean, I've heard of it. It sounds amazing.
The thing about Piggy that was cool is after hours, everybody would go home, and then we'd always go to after-hour bars. Piggy always hung out with BBC. Always. He's the only guy that said, "I'll come with you guys."
But I think what may have led to what may have led to his demise is he used to do hot knives on a soldering iron, and we would do it together. But if he actually used it for soldering, then there's a lot of lead going in your lungs, and it's not good. But he and I used to do hot knives off his soldering iron, and I don't know. It may have had an effect. I don't know.
We'll never know.
Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate thing for sure. I mean, the originality and talent that guy had was just out of control. I mean, the whole band, really, to be fair. I mean, the drumming in Voivod too was totally original, especially for that time. I remember hearing that stuff. You're just like, how does he even come up with this stuff? You know, to kind of just tribal beats. That's the whole way.
The way was amazing, but to me, Quebec was really good at that stuff. Jeff with us, it's like Eddie would come up with a riff and you just say, "Oh, do that," or something. But Jeff would do something and it was like, "What?" And it would just
You
work.
would follow the
But
notes.
it was nothing we would ever have thought of.
Maybe it's all that
Jeff would
listening to
never hold
Rush.
a beat. Yeah, he would never hold a beat. He would follow the notes, the riff. That was his thing. And we do it over and over again.
Jeff is like the Canadian Keith Moon.
He was. It was always
He
a
even
drum
looked
solo.
like Keith Moon.
It was a
He
drum
looked
solo.
like Keith Moon.
Yeah,
But
it was
I
a
remember
drum
he was not in shape, so he wouldn't hit his snare. And you would look at him and it would be do that, and that's what you want to hear. But Jeff wouldn't hit his snare, so he would hear do. So we were pissed off at him and saying, "Can you please hit the snare?" So out of what's the word? Anyway, just to piss us off, he hit his snare really hard, exaggerated, and Ed and I said, "Perfect."
wait, let me explain it. In the hardcore beat, when you do it, the duta, the beat is on the kick drum, not the snare. That's on the uptime. It's duta. So what he would do is hit the hi-hat on the double and the snare, right? So it'd be, it'd be a lot. So we said, no, if you do this, it's much easier and much clearer. But that's why he was hitting the hi-hat on the, well, Gus will tell us more, but on the double. Right?
Kind of like in between it.
But he wasn't in shape. So you would look at him with the snare and you would just see the snare hand just kind of brush. It would brush the snare and you would see that he wasn't nailing it like it should have been. Like hardcore should be tack. But he was still amazing. I mean, very so original. And like Denise says, he was very much a Keith Moon. Oh, and the stories of Jeff on tour. Oh my God.
I did want to talk about a little bit about Soothsayer too, because that was a band I really liked a lot from Montreal too. When I heard that To Be a Real Terrorist demo, holy crap, that was so good. Just totally kicked my butt. I have to say, I was not quite as happy with the album. A little bit too fun sounding on the album. The was it Have a Nice Day or something like that? But the but man, that demo was super good. And I don't know, I just remember I love that demo. That's all I could say. I just had to say it in the Canadian.
Quebec City was kind of like its own scene.
Yeah.
And we would play, like, they had a huge metal scene, so we would play there often. Sacrifice. Actually, we would do like residency in a bar in Quebec. Like we would
play
Really?
Quebec City.
We would play there for like 7 days.
Yes.
And like we would come home like changed. We would come home like changed, man. And it's funny because like Sacrifice sometimes would play the week after us or before us, and we would like destroy all the walls upstairs. All like we throw like TVs through like with like all like like those stories. We did it at that bar, so it was so Quebec City had like and Soothsayer were really good.
I'd like to give a shout out to Cremains and
Cremains, yeah. Yeah, I knew Zaz used to manage them.
Yeah.
I met them with Zaz.
Yeah, and Oblivion came after us, also following like the DVC thing.
No, but we would prefer to go to Quebec City. Whenever we play Toronto, there'd be not that many people. It was very late. Plus, at that point, the bars closed at like midnight. It was really sad compared to Montreal or Quebec. So you go to Quebec City, and it was just amazing. Heavy metal fans. But you would go to Toronto or Hamilton, it was just like crickets. It really wasn't that.
True.
Yeah. He does look like Kate Moon.
It's Jeff. He looks like a Polish woman. Then he changed his look. Here, this is all a shout out to Jeff. Look, he became a French poet.
Awesome. So, Gus, I'm curious about, I have to hear something about Slaughter from Toronto. I mean, you guys used to hang out, I'm sure, back in the day. And I mean, those guys were just such a hoot. I mean, I love the their Strapato album, all their demos, just insane. I mean, Terry Sadler, Dave Houston, amazing, you know.
Yeah, Dave Houston, Ron Summers. Yeah,
Yeah.
we played a lot at summer of '85. Yeah, we did a lot of shows with them. We also traveled to Quebec City, played with those guys out there. That was before we started doing the residency at, like Denny said, at Carl Floyd. We did that twice. But yeah, our history is intertwined with those guys, at least in the early days, anyways, until maybe later on in '86, and we started spreading our wings and going south and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They celebrated a lot of big shows at Larry's Hideaway when we were doing our residency in Toronto before stuff got, it's like Phil said. After midnight, some of them fucking shows, man, people are there either sleeping or, don't worry, we went through all that stuff too. Show up and you get 25 people. You get 25 people to a show, right? And it's like, and you could ask Urban Eddie, like, when was it? 2016, we finally sell out Toronto. 2016.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sometimes we played a couple hundred people if we're lucky then.
It was,
so
and no juice.
With that, I want to know too, with that residency thing in Quebec. I mean, metal was big enough where you could have a residency. I mean, that seems ridiculous.
Literally in '86. Yeah, we did it then, and I think we did it again in '87. Yeah, we were lucky to do that. Every time we did
some. Yeah, we did some in Quebec City. We did some up north in Val-d'Or, which is way up north, Quebec, and we used to do like 1 week on, and then Annihilator would do the next week, and then we would do the next week, and then Annihilator would do the next week. Sometimes we do like 3 weeks in a row, and then Jeff would come with Annihilator 3. Sometimes the band would like have to stay, like same with Sacrifice, like the night before they leaving and we're coming in, we would like one night where both bands are there. And those nights were like legend, like crazy
parties.
In Val-d'Or.
Wow. Yeah, I did a lot of drinking those 7 days. A lot of drinking.
Wait a minute, I thought you just smoked weed.
No. Back
he wasn't
then,
playing.
The thing about going to Quebec that we always used to love is you could get the 6%, eh? We get to Quebec City, we're drinking the 6%. We're like, fuck the 5%. We're going hard. There's a picture.
We skipped over the 6%. Went right to 7%.
Which was we had all these bottles of fucking Brador. We used to drink that shit in Quebec City. That stuff was 6%. We loved it.
Brador.
Yeah,
Brador.
6%.
Brador.
You see, like. Yeah, we had like in Montreal we had Damnation, and in Toronto they had Slaughter, and those two bands were like almost more extreme than what we were doing. Like they were more like.
I thought Damnation was really more like a death metal-ish, almost like an early version of death metal.
Yeah, right. Like so like Sacrifice was more like Creator, Slayer, that type of music, right? But like Slaughter was a lot more. Raw, and like it sounded to me like more like a Sodom and the Sign of Evil, or more like Battery, like, and even some Venom, but like it was not as polished, but it was so like the Slaughter has so many amazing hooks in their music. You just want to add bang to it. Same as Damnation, like they had their own like Damnation had their own like society of like, they call them the Burning Talls, which means like les Grands Brûlés, right? But like means like in Quebec, les Grands Brûlés, it's people who have been like like caught on fire, and like like then there's like get like medical assistance and things like that. But these guys they were burning their brain cells. Yeah. It was
their demo was called Smurf Attack. I had that. And it's just like it's how it plays like a caveman or something.
Catchy.
That was awesome. But I mean,
they would have like,
go ahead.
Yeah, they would have like full songs with no lyrics, just grunting. There was no words. It's just
Denis, do you remember Dissection? I think.
yeah, they were in Quebec City.
Okay.
That was
And yeah,
early,
like, they
though.
were,
That was early.
Because they had an album out, or was it Fringe? Am I right up it, or I forget who it was, but I bought that tape back in the day of Dissection. I remember it.
Yeah. So okay. So
Yeah,
Genocide.
that guitar player actually. Yeah, when we played in Quebec, like maybe in 2017, we played with like very old Voivod time bands like Vor and like
yeah.
Yog Sazat and those old
Oh yeah,
bands.
yeah.
And that guitar player from like Genocide, this Dissection came to the show.
Yeah, we met him
and
too.
we met for the first time.
Yeah, we met
Yeah,
him.
and
What
he's
was
like-
his name? Oh, Zap. It was Zap. Zap.
I
Yes,
can't believe you remember that.
Remember
was it?
Zap? Come
Yeah.
on. How could you remember Zap? We partied with him. He was so fucked up. He ran away from the party, and the cops caught him running down the street in shorts, like just running. And they're like, "What the hell?" Yeah, Zap. It was Zap.
Yeah.
I remember now. Fucked up guy.
Zap and the other guy in Quebec that was big was Raz Evil.
Raz Evil.
Raz Evil.
Remember
No.
Raz? Like he had like
Sure, that's real,
he had like a metal radio show.
Yeah, yeah.
Called like Blaspheme. Like
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I know what you're
last
talking
time,
about.
yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
Hey,
these guys are like these guys are a different level of like craziness.
Right, Gus is showing us something. What is it?
that's
Say something,
Blaspheme
Gus.
Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, Blast,
That's
yeah, the
that
logo,
radio
I remember
station.
That was what was that? Fucking their playlist from what year is that? September,
ass.
October '87. September,
No.
October of '87.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember that
who's
radio
on this
station.
fucking list? Us, BBC, Excel, Accused. Let's see, Cryptic Slaughter. Fuck, man.
Right on.
Metallica.
What happened to Gus?
Gus, what album for us? Does it list the album?
Yeah, it's got you guys. DBC, Dead Brain Cells Combat.
Okay, so it's just the band.
Probably
Yeah.
your first record.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Blaspheme.
Randy Burns.
Yeah,
September,
I forgot
October.
about that. What so I want to hear about some of these crazy Dead Brain Cells tour stories that you brought up before.
Okay, Phil, you start one, and I'll do another one.
Let's do a Jeff story.
Go.
All right. Well, we were, I think we went all around the north of the U.S., down California, then we were coming through
Texas.
Phoenix. And then we were annoying, as we were.
In Texas.
Very annoying and loud. And our drummer, our driver was very annoyed with us. And he said, okay, one more fucking noise from you guys, and I'm out of here. And so, of course, one of us did another noise, probably Ed or something.
No, it was Phil.
He pulled out this table leg. What do you call the table leg, Ed?
Something like that. Yeah, it started hitting you.
Bessie or something. So he tried to beat us with it in a hotel room.
He tried to hit you.
But I'm out. All right. But anyway, so he fucking took off. He left the U-Haul trailer. He took off. He took the van. Where was this? Phoenix or?
It was in Texas. We were stuck in Texas in a hotel
No,
room.
it was where Buddy Holly died. Where was that?
Lubbock, Texas.
Lubbock. And so he took off, went back to Canada. So we were left with our U-Haul and nothing else. So we put up an ad, or we looked through ads, people that wanted to, that had a van that would drive us. And this old lady came out. She had like a beard and everything. And she showed up with this like 1960 something Dodge van. And so loaded all her stuff. And we continued the tour across to Texas. But the van
We made our
leaked.
way
So
to
we were in
Florida.
there raining.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. And she was not attractive. She just an old lady with a beard. Anyway, so where Jeff comes into this is that he fucked her at a hotel. I mean, it was just terrible. But so much more happened on that.
But wait a second. After he fucked her, she decides to leave us in Florida. Remember, she
I
took
feel
off.
like I remember this story. Like now
Yeah,
that
she
you're
took
saying this,
off.
I remember hearing this somewhere.
Yeah. Then she took off. Then we were in Florida.
It might have been
with
from the
no
movie.
driver again. Yeah. And so we rented a U-Haul, put all our equipment in there, and drove back all the way up the East Coast.
Oh yeah, it was rough. Oh my God! But also we were in, I think it was either Austin or Dallas, where I disappeared from the band and I went to see a show, and the show was Pantera when they all had long hair, and Jason Newsted was on stage playing with them. And I got absolutely wasted, and I had left with the I think the owner of the bar's girlfriend, and went across the street, and the taxi had to fill up with gas, and then the guy sent a whole bunch of his bouncers running across to us because he was going to kill me. But then out of the back of the window of the taxi, I do this because I was an idiot and I could have been killed. And then the next day we were playing a show, and I don't remember where it was. I just remember I think Guar had played there, because I still have a skull from their show here that still has pieces of hair off it. And I don't remember. You remember, Ed? The show was canceled. Firemen canceled the show.
Well, I know at times we would lose Phil because we would meet these girls and said, well, I'm going to go meet, hang out with these girls. And like, this is pre-cell phones, okay? So we've lost our singer. We have no clue where he is. He could be anywhere. But we were driving down the street, remember? And then you just showed up out of the blue just by luck. Hey, there's Phil. Remember? And you fucking rejoined us. There was no way of getting you back with the band to continue the tour because you were gone. You were just, oh, the chick wants to fuck me. I'm gone. We're like, okay, so where's Phil? I don't know. He's just gone. But we were lucky that we met that night. And that's the night that, well, I'm not going to get into that story.
You could. It's okay.
No. I'm going to say is I met a girl, and at the next show, the mother came. the mother's looking at me like this. And I'm like, well, it was last night. Oh my God.
There was that other time in Winnebago. Was that Wisconsin? You know what? I'm not even getting into that story. That was really
no, there's so many stories. But Jeff, let me see.
No.
Anything? Well, other than knowing, Jeff is known as Captain Quebec because there was a couple at his place, having sex in his bed. So Jeff is like decides to take off all his clothes, put on a Quebec flag, and soak himself in baby oil. And opens up the bedroom and says, Captain Quebec! And jumps into the bedroom. And slid right out. That's Captain Quebec. But there's so many Jeff stories. Oh my God.
So many stories.
We can write a book about him. He was special. Jeff was special. Yeah.
Sounds crazy.
It was very
He was
tough.
always a little bit crazy.
He
was older than
us. When we
us.
found out he was dying.
Pardon?
Yeah, when we found out he was dying, we went and visited him, and he had this disease but when he saw us, he actually reached out and sort of shook my hand. He had, what was it called? What was the disease called?
It's some
great stuff.
What's an H? No, wasn't it? It's like a brain-eating disease. Yeah, it was a brain-eating disease, and we saw him on the day before he died. So, but no, he gave us a fist pump. I think he realized it was us, and there was he couldn't speak anymore and anything. So we lost Jerry and we lost Jeff. And Jerry was first to go in 1984. So that was he was young. He was 30. In fact, he got AIDS. It was really bad,
Yeah.
But I don't want to bring the show down. But we lost two of our members. It's just down.
Yeah, I heard that's terrible.
And normally, when you lose a member of a band, you make it big, but we did not.
Yeah. So we'll give a shout out to Bill Thompson on guitar and Mark Pelot on drums, our current players. We're still writing music, so we're still together after all these years.
So you have some, yeah, it's really awesome for sure.
Yeah, we're still writing music too.
That's good.
We're still writing music.
Is there plans for any recording or anything?
Well, we have 5 songs, but we're going to record 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Now it's just the whole getting together, finishing lyrics with Phil and recording. And COVID really did screw up things. It's taken us a while to get these songs together. We're kind of like picky, but we want to make sure they're good, And look, we're not writing music that sounds like the old DBC. We're kind of writing for us and what we kind of like now, and it's different, you know. But hopefully people, you know, do like it.
When you get older, you look back on what you did and you're critical of it, and you think, you know what, I think we can really think about this stuff and do it right. But you know, we're older, we have jobs, we have lives, and when you're a kid, nothing mattered more than metal. Nothing mattered more than
we're doing 5 days a week. Now we were down to once a week.
But Ed has what do you have, 8, 9 kids now or something? I don't know.
No, it's 12. I got 2 kids. So you know, we used to do 5 days a week. Now we were doing once a week, and now we're down to like 2 a jam every 2 weeks, and now it's down to nothing. So we just gotta be patient, and my goal is to get those songs out, though. I want to definitely get them out. You know?
Yeah, but it sounds like Denis is still writing serious music. It's still out there. Are you doing that, dude?
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of great stuff. Still keep it going. I mean, they're way more active now than they were then. I mean, they've been around longer now, I think.
Yeah, we've been longer now than back then for sure.
So I'm glad Gates is playing with you still, man. Gates was cool. You know what I remember about Gates? You had spikes. Remember on
Oh yeah.
Something?
Of course.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
So-
we're
okay.
like I'm in Vancouver now, right? So like I think here like the COVID restrictions are less, but maybe it's a bad thing. But we still can practice like 2-3 times a week, and like everybody else in the band Aggression right now is much younger and healthy, and like they can teach me how to play my own songs. So I'm using that that skill set to be able to keep doing music. But we do have an EP coming out soon. We have recorded 4 songs, and just it's part of who we are. I'm always gonna do music. I'll be like 55 this year, and
You're gonna be like Keith
I'll play
Richards.
music. Yeah,
You're gonna be like
Yeah,
I'll
Keith
play
Richards.
till I'm like 72. I don't care. There's nothing else. I love doing it. So why stop, right?
Yeah, but 70 is not what it used to be, eh? I'm telling you right now. 70 is not what it used to be.
Huh?
Look at the Stones. Come on. Fuck, they're gonna be like 75. Look at Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney sounds great when he does the Beatles stuff. It's great. Fantastic. It's not what it used to be. Definitely not. Look at Raquel Welch.
I mean, I remember seeing Aggression. What was that? Was that Farmageddon? Was it that fest up in
Yeah.
Edmonton or something like that, or outside of Edmonton? And
Yeah, it was like June and -20 outside.
yeah, it was ridiculous. And I remember I was like doing an interview or something, and all of a sudden I heard Aggression. I didn't even know Aggression was playing the fest. And I just I heard something about the Full Treatment. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? You know, like, and I just started I gotta stop this interview. And I just had to get up on to the front of the stage and headbang like, you know, an 18-year-old kid, because it was just so nice to hear that. And it sounded so fresh and great. It just brought back all those memories of being a young kid. I mean, I never got to see Aggression live. It just never worked out, you know, being from New Jersey. But I mean, I used to listen to that album all the time, and it was just mind blowing. So I appreciate that. It was the first time I met you. I was a super fanboyed out at that for sure. You know, it was
And
amazing.
look at you now, that full beard.
But I want to hear some old school Sasquatch stories, because I know you have some from back then. I know you got yourself in a lot of trouble back in the day. So there has to be something,
Oh, I've got to hear this.
something cool you could tell us.
I don't know.
I don't think there's
a
a.
lot. There's a big library of stories. Like which one?
You gotta write the book.
Yeah, but you gotta go to jail.
Yeah, tell us one where you're most embarrassed.
Okay, I do have like the most embarrassing story ever. So at one point, I don't know why, but I became like a DJ manager at a bar called the Blacklight on Saint
Oh yeah, I
Lawrence
remember that
Street.
place.
Love that.
And I was booking bands. I was like DJing. I was like, you know, like kind of doing like a bit of everything. And back then in Montreal, there was lots of drugs, lots of things we could do, right? And like, it's not a good idea to get like too intoxicated when you're managing and you're the DJ. So, so I was doing putting a song. I remember I put like 1,000 Days in Sodom by Venom, and then like I felt like I farted, but I felt like it was a little bit juicy at the same time, right? So like the black light only had one stall, right? And there was a lineup of about like 10 people, and I'm like, fuck. So I knew there was a Burger King across the street. I'm like, okay, I gotta fucking go, right? So, but like, I'm not sure if like there was any like mess in my shorts or not. So like, I crossed the dance floor. I put my hand in my back of my pants, and I look at my hand, and it's covered in shit.
Juicy.
So then I'm like, okay. So then I like, okay, I got it. So I walk in front of like the doorman. I go down the stairs. I cross Saint Laurent, St. Catherine Street, get into the Burger King, go into the bathroom, and then I use like toilet paper to wash myself, and then I put my underwear in the toilet and I flush it, but it flooded the toilet, and all the water start coming out. Okay. And like, and the toilet at the Burger King was right where people were ordering, and the water started to leak on the floor, and like, so people start banging on the door, like, hey, like stop the water and stuff. So I put back my jeans with no underwear. Like my jeans were wet because they were on the floor. I put that, and I crossed the street, I walked back upstairs, and then I can hear in the bar, like, you know, when a record is at the end, it goes like, talk, 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 talk. Like, I had locked the door of the DJ booth. Everybody's waiting for me. And like, like, okay, you don't want to know about it.
Wow, you really exposed yourself there, dude. You know we're gonna use that against.
Shout out to
it was the Genesis Ocean.
You know this book?
Yeah.
You guys know this book? Yeah.
Yeah.
Came out in English.
Oh, did it? Awesome. I have to check that out.
You have that in the bathroom with you?
Pardon?
You have that in the bathroom with you?
Well, where else do I do my reading?
So Gus, what
I'm
about
a doctor, not a pool man.
Do you have a story, Gus, for us that you could tell us? Kind of embarrassing or just something crazy on the road with sacrifice?
Oh, fuck.
I guess not.
Well,
Hey, who had nicer hair, Phil or Rob?
Well, look, he's got a full head of hair here, and yet he's still
I
hiding.
got hair.
Rob had nice hair. Hey, Rob had nice hair.
I'm still got fucking hair too.
Yeah, but Rob's hair was beautiful, and Phil's was like top of the line there.
Yeah, it was long and luxurious.
Yeah. He'd get nailed.
Luxurious.
We were all brunettes, but Phil was blonde.
Oh, is he blonde?
Girls love that.
Remember a bunch of girls the night White Lion was playing, and a bunch of girls go, "Oh, you're the singer from White Lion." I'd
be like, "Yes,
I am."
Sure, yeah, I am.
Didn't pan out.
No, I was just a brunette. Still am. Still a brunette.
Look at that, amazing full head of hair, and yet he's wearing a hat. That stash is good.
I'm wearing the #1 tee.
Yeah, whatever.
Gus, I follow the Canadians in Toronto, and yeah, you guys beat our ass every time, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I definitely don't like those games.
That's nice.
Now, man.
It was nice beating McJesus for a couple games.
Yeah, well, you know, Toronto suffered for years, and you know what? It's good to see you guys finally like getting up there. You know, 1967 was the last cup. You know, so I wouldn't mind seeing you guys.
Every year my birthday goes by is another year I haven't won it. So
yeah, I know. We got
I'm hoping.
by the way, the first
We're hopeful. That's all I can say.
when DBC played our first show at the Rising Sun, the Canadians won the Stanley Cup that night. Yeah, we finished our show and we're like, we finished our show. We're like, well, first show, come out, and everybody's like, woo, Cup, Stanley Cup. We thought it was for us.
It still felt good, right?
Pardon?
I said it still felt good.
Oh yeah, it was a great night. Come on, you get two amazing things happening. Your first show and the Cup. I don't know if that was I think the last time was in '94. Other than that, now we're struggling, man. We're struggling. Fire our coach, dry spell. It's tough. I don't know if you guys follow.
Coach, 3 of them. You guys fired 3 guys.
Well, Kirk Muller's gone. Yeah.
3 guys.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, we probably
Stephen Wade
should
was,
wrap this
shocked.
up, I think.
John's
So
favorite
don't
is
get-
sports, so now he's
Yeah, I'm not a
fading
sport-
away.
Yeah. We're Canadian, so hockey has to come up.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
hockey.
before we split, just anybody have anything else they would like to add, or is there anything coming up? I mean, what's going on? Future for Sacrifice.
Well, we got a whole bunch of stuff written, so it's just a matter of me and Rob getting back together again and playing, getting it all tight, and getting back to playing some live shows. So yeah, we should have played a shitload of stuff this year or last year, COVID 2020, and it all got canceled. So we're waiting to do it all again. But can't do nothing until we all get our needles.
Yeah.
And once that happens, we'll get back to playing. Hopefully get some recording done and play some live shows again. That's what
Right
I
on.
want.
Definitely.
That's what I want to do. Like
Hell yeah.
Right on.
soon. I'm fucking
And-
tired of sitting around doing jack shit.
Well, you've been
Can you
doing some
imagine
cool drum
25
covers.
years later, we're still doing this?
Yeah, I it's never lost on me for sure. That I could still do it and still play, and we could
Yeah.
still bring it at a high level. So I'll take it for what it is while I'm still doing it.
I know every time I've seen you guys play, it's great to see like the younger generation totally digging it, which is just
Yeah.
totally awesome, you know?
Yeah, it's their longevity has been shocking to me at times.
Yeah, you
But
definitely.
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, of
I
course.
love it. The more chances we get to play, the more young guys get to see us play. It's been we've been still really lucky for sure.
Cool. And as far as DBC goes, I mean, you said you're working on some new songs. What you're just going to record? You said 3 of them is like more of a demo kind of thing, or are you going to do an EP, or
Well,
you're not sure
we
yet?
just did a new website, and we joined up with some fulfillment companies, so we finally got some product out there as in t-shirts. That,
I'm gonna Seasons of the Mist DBC store.
we're with
I can,
Seasons of
I'll
the
plug
Mist.
it for you.
Yeah, actually, we did Seasons of the Mist and on our website at the same time. So we finally got some product out there, and we're gonna be releasing 3 CDs this month with Dive Bomb Records. So you're gonna be getting a collector's edition of the first album, second album, and what he's calling a new CD called the Demo Anthology, which consists of unreleased and the demos for the first 2 albums. So and all of them come with a case that's going to have the foil on them. So you're going to have the first album with the foil CD, with the lightning foil. On Universe, the Atom's going to be in foil, and on the last album, all the red is going to be in foil. So we got a booklet within there with an interview and a 20-page booklet, and he's going all out.
It's going to be good for the fans. It'll be
Yeah,
good for the
yeah,
old
it's
school
like
fans and new
collectors.
school fans.
Yeah, exactly. So that's coming
Ed
up.
and I have
yes.
been writing. Ed,
Yeah.
how many songs do we have now that we're
We have
recording?
about 5
3 or
songs, but we have 5, but we decided we're never gonna be able to be tight enough to get those 5 songs recorded because we're doing once a month jamming. So we're gonna record hopefully 3 months. It was supposed to be last year. It was supposed to be this year. The way it's looking, it's hopefully next year. By the time we start,
Is it
and we
5
gotta get our
Universe
jam-
songs?
Yeah.
Is it
Pardon?
5 Universe songs where it's really like 2
Well,
albums?
no,
worth?
not at
no.
all.
It's what we learned with Universe is keep it
Yeah.
simple. So now we have 5.
No, not. You know what? I wouldn't even compare it to the
Just have
first
to write the
album or anything. It's completely new, completely
Yeah.
different.
That's
It's
cool.
what we listen to now. It's more, for lack of a better word, more groove.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more
That's
like
good. Awesome.
yeah. There's some duta, but that's not our main concern to be as fast and aggressive. It's more what, to us, what sounds good.
Well, it's
gotta
most
be like a
important that
good.
you're honest and being happy with it, you know?
Yeah, it's got
That's
to,
what makes great music.
but I'm happy with the 3 tunes,
And-
so hopefully people will like it, and that's all.
And now what the hell's Denis do?
Yep. What's up? What's up with Sasquatch?
Yeah, come on.
I think
Like,
he's a,
You're working on some new stuff, I know.
oh, there he is.
Yeah, we have an EP coming out on like 4 new songs coming out on Nuclear Blast. I think it's coming out like April 15 or 16. And now I'm singing, so it's kind of like it's kind of fun for me to play guitar, sing at the same time. So I get a lot of like
James
just a lot of
Hetfield.
fun, like trying to like I had to like
You're
I
singing.
took like the pandemic time to like learn how to like sing and play like the aggression riff at the same time. But it's it makes it a little bit simpler. Like Brian, that John moved on to his band League of Corruption, so he's doing that full time. Amazing band from Vancouver. But we're having fun and we're writing stuff, and we're actually going to the studio in April to record. We're gonna do like 4 EPs, like 4 songs. The next one has 6 songs. We have to go and record it. So we keep productive. We're trying to using that pandemic times to write as much as possible, record, and like we're going crazy inside our houses, like. It's like when you keep like animals in cages, eventually, like the inner, it's got to come out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But like I just want to say, like I'm a huge Sacrifice fan. I'm a huge DBC fan, and it's an honor to have you guys here. And like I feel privileged that I know you guys like personally, but amazing music. And I'm proud we're doing this Canadian thrash metal show. So
I love you, man.
that's it.
I love you, man.
And Robin, anything you want to add?
No, I have to keep going after like these epic speeches and stories. Like I can't top that. I'm just gonna like thank you guys for being here. Like I appreciate everybody's music, and I'm looking forward to some new stuff from everyone, and and hopefully I get to see a show with all of you playing.
That would
And
be
hopefully
great.
my band will be playing with you, because that'd be even better. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully I'm just waiting and buy merchandise and buy the new music and buy old music, and support all the bands, and spread the word of like these bands that need that should be
Ditto.
exposed to the younger generation.
Nailed it.
They're
Yeah,
missing
definitely.
out. There's more
Definitely.
bands out there than than they're being exposed to.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And really all 3 of your bands really made an impact on me as a musician, and the stuff I do with my band Incantations, all part of my DNA, that thrash, Canadian thrash scene of the 80s was definitely one of those things that was just like it gave me that fire. I mean, especially when I was playing with my band before Revenant. I mean, we basically were like, when I joined the band, we were like, we want to be like Sacrifice, Torment, and Fire. That was one of the, like that, and like what was it? Fairmock were the 2 bands that we were really into at the time, and it was just such a great inspiration. And DBC and Aggression 2 are 2 bands that also are amazing. And I just love the fact that so many of the bands back then, if you say, Slaughter, Soothsayer, Damnation, any of the bands from that era, they all sound different, which was really great about the scene up in Canada. It wasn't one of those places where everyone's going for the same kind of sound. Everyone had their own thing going on. It just really a great scene and a great inspiration for me. And I think any the younger generation that doesn't know some of these older Canadian thrash bands, not just it's great bands like Pile Driver and Razor, everyone knows, but there's a lot of more underground bands that are really worth checking out too, that really have a lot of fire and to me represent one of the greatest thrash I don't know what you want to call it, revolutions of that time, in my opinion. So I really appreciate you guys coming out. It really means a lot to me. And hopefully, you know, we'll see stuff by all you guys soon. Definitely want to see all you guys live again. It'll be definitely great. And thank you.
We gotta do a show. Sasquatch, get in touch.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you. And
Hey, guys.
yeah, like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, just thrash out. Hell yeah.
Thanks, man.
Right on. Thanks a lot, man.
Your boys. Take it.